Hello, my people. You are welcome to the next edition of our lesson on geometric reasoning. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to reflect a 2D shape on the number plane. Now, this is the number plane, right? How do we reflect the shapes here? Using the y-axis or the x-axis as the mirror line. The question is, reflect the shape wxyz on both mirror line. Now, wxyz is the shape here. Let's reflect it on the y-axis. When we finish, reflect it on the x-axis. On the y-axis, that is the y as our mirror line. How do we reflect this shape? We first of all reflect the vertices of the shape. So we have point x here. At this point is 2 units away from the mirror line, right? So in the opposite direction, we count 2 units, which is x prime here, as we can see. We also have y here, which is another point on the shape. It's 1 unit away from the mirror line. So in the opposite direction, you also calculate 1 unit away, which is also here. We also have z here, which is 3 units away from the mirror line. When I say 3 units, 1, 2, 3, right? So in the opposite direction, we also calculate 3 units away from the mirror line. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then you get your z prime. We also have our w here, which is 4 units away from the mirror line. So count 4 units in the opposite direction. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you indicate your image point, which is w prime. Then you join the image point with straight edge to get the image of shape wxyz. This shape has been reflected on the y-axis, or using y as the mirror line. Now we are going to reflect the same shape on the x-axis. We are done with the y-axis, so we are now going to reflect it on the x-axis. To reflect it on the x-axis, you will first reflect the point, the vertices. So z is here, which is 2 units away from the mirror line, which is the x-axis. Then you come here, you check 2 units, so you get your z prime prime. Why am I indicating this point as prime prime? Because it is the second reflection we are doing. We also have w here, which is how many units away from the x-axis? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units away from the x-axis, which is our mirror line. So when you come here, you calculate 4 units away from the mirror line. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you indicate it as w prime prime, which is the image of the point w. We also have x here. Is how many units away from the mirror line? You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 5 units away from the mirror line. So when you come to the opposite direction, you calculate 5 units. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you get your image point to be x prime prime. Then you join the image point with straight edge to get the image of shape wxyz. Now let's take another shape. We have triangle BCD here, right? We are going to reflect this on the x-axis and on the y-axis. Trust you can indicate the x-axis, y-axis, or x mirror line, y mirror line. This is the x mirror line or reflection on the x-axis. Then y mirror line, reflection on the y-axis. So using the x-axis as our mirror line for this shape ought to be its image. And where can the image be located? So we first of all reflect the point of the shape, which is BCD. Reflect B. B is 4 units away from the mirror line. Let's calculate. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the opposite direction, you count 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now, let's take point C, which is 2 units away from the mirror line, right? So in the opposite direction, you count 2 units, which is 1, 2. Trust you get it. We also have D here, which is 5 units away from the mirror line. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So in the opposite direction, from the mirror line, you count 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get your D prime. Then after identifying your image point, you join them with straight edge to get your image of the shape BCD. Now let's reflect the same shape on the y-axis. This time we are going to use our y as the mirror line. We have point B here. If you reflect this on the y-axis, you see you move. It's on the mirror line, so it will continue to be there. Now, what about C here? C is how many units away from the mirror line? It's 1, 2, 3 units away, right? So in the opposite direction, how many units do you calculate? You have 1, 2, 3, right? Now, what about point D? Point D is 3 units away from the mirror line. This is the mirror line, y-axis. So we have 1, 2, 3 units away. So in the opposite direction, you calculate 1, 2, 3, right? Then you get your image point, D prime prime. Then you join the point, the image point, with straight edge to get the image of the shape BCD. I trust you enjoyed today's lesson. Then I have some exercises for you in your learning zone. But before then, what have we learned today? We learned how to reflect a shape or a 2D shape using the mirror line, which is y-axis or x-axis, right? So to reflect a 2D shape with a given mirror line, first reflect the vertices of the shape by identifying the number of units away from the specified. When I say specified, could be x-axis or y-axis. The specified mirror line in the opposite direction, and thereby joining the edges to obtain the image. Trust you enjoy today's lesson. Hope to meet you next time.